All right, here we go. Page 70 in the packet. We'll start with our quick look at the calendar. Today is our review day. I have no agenda, no new homework, no new projects, no anything other than prepare for the test. The test is next class, which is actually on Friday. Remember, Wednesday we don't have any day classes because of this professional day that's happening, okay? So the next time we meet will be Friday right here, and that will be our test. And so today we just review for the test. What is the test on? Everything for the semester. So let's take a look at some more specific details about the test on page 70. And we'll go up here to number 1, which gives you a very broad view of the subject areas for the test. Again, we're on page 70. So the focuses are functions and models, notation, terminology, sketching and interpreting graphs, limits, and derivatives. And we talked about several specific types of functions: linear, polynomial, power, and rational. And for all of those kinds of functions, I need you to be able to distinguish which ones are which. I need you to be able to work with those functions and write formulas for those different types of functions. And then finally, need you to be able to solve equations. In terms of limits, I'd like you to be able to evaluate them. I'd like you to know whether or not they exist at a given point. And I'd like you to be able to apply limits to end behavior. Towards minus infinity and positive infinity, and then also be able to estimate limits numerically. Continuity was a very minor topic, but it's listed here. I want you to be able to tell me when a function is continuous and what it means for a function to be continuous. Derivatives, you can see, is the thickest kind of bullet point here. You need to be able to find a derivative at a point and a derivative function numerically, graphically, and algebraically. Sadly, with that lengthy limit definition, this will be the last time I ask you to do the limit definition of a derivative, but this test, it might come up. And then I need you to know the shortcuts. We talked about power rule, product rule, quotient rule, and then some other kind of rules like addition and subtraction and constant multiples. Interpreting first and second derivatives is important. Make sure you're aware of how to figure out the units, because you might see a problem that is in an unfamiliar context. But if you can figure out what the units are, that might help you explain what the derivative represents. And the sign of the derivatives, does it tell you increasing, decreasing? Does it tell you concave up or down? Got to be able to work with the different derivatives and their signs. I need you to be able to relate derivatives to graphs. I need you to understand some stuff about second derivatives. And finally, differentiability. Remember, we had things like corners where a function was not differentiable. And then applications of the derivative. All of our applications so far have to do with optimization and modeling, which is certainly related to finding extrema with both the first and second derivative tests. That is a small snapshot of the topics that are on the test. If we skip ahead 3 pages right now, I'll show you that there is a much more detailed look of what's going to be on the test, which is page 73. Study guide for test 1. This is a checklist of things that you should be able to do. Some students never look at this. I think you should. At some point, I think you should run down and say, can I do number 6? Can I do number 7? If so, great. If not, find some problems that will help you be able to do number 6 or number 7. We're not going to go through this list right now, but I wanted to make sure you knew it was there. So back on page 70, here in the middle, some things to know about the test. So you will be able to use a 1-page front and back sheet of notes on the test. I'll say it again. You're going to make your own cheat sheet and bring it in and have it with you during the entire test. I encourage you to save that sheet after you take the test. Some people just throw it in the recycle bin, but you're going to be able to use it on the final exam as well, so hold on to it. You're not going to be able to use your textbook or any other notes on tests and quizzes. Again, you can only use a scientific calculator. I can lend you one if you don't have one. You don't need to go out and buy one. And I just want to say about this sheet of notes, you can put anything that you want on that sheet. You can put definitions, you can put theorems, you can put practice problems worked all the way through, start to finish. Anything that you want is fair game. I can often tell how people are going to do based on the quality of the sheet that they make on their own. Right? Like without even looking at how you actually do on the test, I can oftentimes predict how you're going to do on the test by how seriously you took this exercise of making a sheet to bring with you. Some people, like the ink is still wet when they bring it in because they've done it like 30 seconds before in the studio. Lo and behold, they're not really prepared for the test. But other people use different colors and highlighters, and they write tiny, tiny stuff so they can fit everything in there. I hope you guys are more the latter group. The test is supposed to be an hour, but I used a relaxed time limit on the test. Here is your window, 10 to noon on Friday. I think most of you come in here pretty early anyway, so if you are here at 10 o'clock, we can get started. You can get an extra 50 minutes on this test if you get here at 10. For most of you, that's right after physics class, okay? It's not intended to be a 2-hour test. So many of you will finish in less than an hour, and that's fine. But you guys know the pace at which you work. It's all different. So if you want the opportunity to have some extra time, come at 10. If you come at 10:40 and you're not done at noon, it puts me in a very awkward position to either take the test from you or say, well, I guess you didn't come at 10 and you should have. So just come at 10 to be safe. You can leave as soon as you're done. If you have an accommodation for extra time, come talk to me ASAP. As usual, show all your work. The more clearly you can demonstrate your understanding of the material, the better your chances for partial credit. There is no homework assignment for next class. You are going to study. And in terms of homework, I will accept late homework from the entire semester on Friday. That'll be the last day that I accept late homework from the start of the semester until now. So people can get caught up, and if you don't know which ones you're missing, let me know and I will tell you. But you can turn in any old homework Friday, but not after Friday. Okay, so that's that. There is a homework assignment for next class. It says it was below. Maybe it's on the next page. There it is. So on page 72, not so much a homework assignment due next time, but a reading assignment and a questions of the day. So these are not due the day of the test. These are due the day after, which is Monday, class 14, which is Monday when we come back. All right, in terms of resources that you have to prepare and to use today as you study for this test, I've got 3 things written down here back on page 70. One of them says, go back and finish the interpreting graphs using calculus from the activities from class 10. That was a problem like parts A through X, and there was a graph, and I said skip a bunch of them. You now have the ability to go back and complete that entire thing. So I'd encourage you to do that. Next thing, there's a part 2 of this activity, which is on the very next page. The graph will look awfully familiar to you, but now the graph is not f of x, the graph is now f prime of x. Okay, so the questions, even though they look quite similar, will have radically different answers from before. There is an answer key to this thing on the very next page. And then if we keep going, we talked a little bit about this study guide on page 73. And contained in the study guide are some, towards the bottom here on 73, some extra problems that have not been assigned for homework. So if you've done all the homework but you want more practice, there you go. I'm not collecting them, but this would be a good list of problems to go through. And really important, I think, to go through the sample test problems, which start on page 74. If you study one and only one thing going into Friday's test, I would let it be the sample test problems. So in terms of going through these, you could probably get through most of them here if you just work nonstop on this thing. I want to point out that there is an answer key that follows this. Up on Moodle, there's a PDF, which is a full color solution, as opposed to just the answers, which is what you have in your packet. But this exists on Moodle. If you have a flash drive and you want me to put it on it, let me know. I'll do it right now. But anyway, full color solutions. And then also, if you go onto YouTube, and you type in phrases like this, then you will find videos of me going through each of these problems. So at the bare minimum, make sure that you use these resources and are able to answer all of these questions on the sample test problems. I just wanted to show you. So I typed this in earlier, 201 sample test 1 problem 3, and you hit enter, and there's a video of me going through that problem, right? Okay, so last thing, and then you guys will just get to work preparing for the test. So I handed back all of the projects that I've graded. I didn't have a chance this weekend to grade all the projects, so I prioritized the ones that were handed in on time. So if you handed in the arbitration project on Friday when it was late, I didn't get a chance to grade it yet, but I want you to have that feedback before the test. It was kind of the idea. So I will put these, any projects that you don't have back yet, I will grade and have posted on my door by noon tomorrow. So if you're on campus tomorrow or Thursday, probably not going to be here Wednesday, but if you are, just go pick up your project from my door, and then you'll have feedback, which hopefully will help you on the test, okay? Any questions on any of that? Okay, so get to work and raise a flag if I can help.